Welcome back to Right Answers Mostly, a podcast on what you didn't learn in history class, but you really wanted to. My name's Claire Donald.
My name is Tess Bellomo.
Welcome back, Rammies. Happy President's Day.
Oh, happy President's Day.
We say through gritted teeth. But, okay, we're going to get to it, obviously, but this is actually the perfect subject for President's Day.
Well, thank God.
Yeah, we need some levity today. Am I right?
Truly.
Or am I right?
Ladies.
Tess, how are you?
Oh, I'm great.
Oh, good.
The month has just gone on by very quickly. This week I had my bridal shower.
Oh, that's right. I'm hosting.
Claire's hosting. Claire has been hostess with the mostest. She has planned something so special, and I know like a little bit of it, but I don't know everything.
Yeah, I got to send in the menu, like decisions.
Ah,
I know.
chic.
I know.
What's it going to be like?
Well, I can't say. It's all going to be a surprise.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even want to know.
No, of course.
So really excited about that. I got a dress today from Favorite Daughter.
Love.
Finally found an outfit. So we're looking forward to that. And that's kind of all that's on my mind.
I know. I've got to find a bridesmaid's dress for your wedding.
It's really hard, you guys out there.
No, I ordered one from Reformation and it just did not hit the way. You know what? Satin is scary for the tum. I'll tell you that.
Satin for me it's always like my last choice because I sweat so easily.
We are
and
gonna be
nothing is more embarrassing when you're a bridesmaid and you look down and you're just like, oh, there's like a full triangle of boob sweat.
No, 100%.
So it's a challenging fabric, but
Yeah.
we're going to find you something.
If you guys have any good ideas for like a cute dress that doesn't look like a bridesmaid's dress, you just send it my way.
Yeah, please send us at Right Answers Mostly. Send us all the things. I feel like there's such a hard price point of like things are either $100 and look really cheap or $700. I'm like, what happened to the $200 like nice ref dresses?
Well, that was in 2018. No longer.
It's gone now.
I know. It truly is.
But how the hell are you? What else is going on?
I'm good. I'm still just giggling about our premium episode that we recorded yesterday. Like
We were on one. It felt like we had taken like an Adderall.
I know it really did, but now we have plans for Tess's death. So if you want to know more about that, join premium for $7.99.
Yep.
We have 4 bonus episodes this month, and it's in our show notes. The link is there. You get 3. Well, this month you got like 3 gossip episodes. We recap Tess's bachelorette party, and then you get 1 historical episode.
And we have a very special guest coming on at the end of the month who
Talk about it.
Let's tease it a little bit. Let's tease it.
I say you should say it.
Should I say it?
Yes.
I'm like, okay, okay. Guys, the Bitcoin boo. Kanal, the fiance, is coming on. You know, he's a private guy, but he's coming on premium to recap celebrity gossip, give all his takes about what's going on in pop culture, and it's going to be hilarious.
I cannot wait. Kanal's Corner is what we're calling it.
With a K.
With a K. Kanal's Corner with a K. So if you want to join, you know where to join in the show notes.
Please do.
Yeah, but besides that, I'm pretty good. I'm better than January, but how could you not be?
Well, God. Yeah. It's just onward and upward into the springtime.
That's what we're hoping for.
And we are really excited to like have consistency with the main feed. You guys
Yes.
know that it has been a hard start to the year, and
I think it's good to address this.
I
Yeah.
think it's good to address it because like I think we've also had a lot of guests. We've had just some space in between. The fires really were obviously catastrophic and hard to stay on schedule, and we're still like working our way back to that. But March is going to be such a consistent, lovely, gorgeous, fresh new month, and we have everything planned out for you guys.
And we're also like, I cannot wait for some more consistency.
Yes, we're not just like, oh, we don't think about this at all. It's all we think about.
No,
and we
your
think
mothers
about-
are always thinking, I die when you guys call us mothers or aunties.
I love it so much.
Same.
It is so comforting.
Keep it coming.
Keep it coming. But yeah, you guys are always on our mind. Ram is always on our mind, and we are going to deliver a gorgeous spring for you. And thank you for being patient.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, well, Tess, I feel like we have so much to talk about with our girl, so I feel like we should just get into it.
Let's get into it. Let's go.
Today, we are talking about the one, the only, Shirley Chisholm. Tess, what do you know about Shirley Chisholm? Oh, God.
It's Chisholm?
Chisholm. I really should have done some vocal warm-ups.
Oh, no.
I say every week.
I know, but this is who we are.
Yeah, truly.
I don't actually know as much as I should about her, which I feel even embarrassed to say. I know that was she the first Black woman elected to Congress?
Yep.
Okay, but that's literally all I know.
Well,
Which is a shame. Which is just not okay.
but that's also, like, not on you necessarily. Like, there are some subjects. I was saying this last night. We took our intern Maddie out to drinks. Hi, Maddie. We love you.
Love you.
And I was saying, I was like, there's some subjects that you start researching and then you just get butterflies and you're like, I'm obsessed with this person.
That is the best feeling, and I'm so excited to have that again.
Same. And it was. And that's how I felt with Shirley. And then I was just like, why are we not talking about Shirley Chisholm every single day? There should be like a whole semester on her at school.
You have been wanting to do her for years. Like, I remember this was one of the first women that you talked about wanting to do, so I'm so glad that's coming right now.
The first time that she had kind of came up on my radar that I can remember is that show where Rose Byrne plays Gloria Steinem.
Rose Byrne.
Rose Byrne.
Yeah.
Who's Rose Byrne?
Rose Byrne?
Brine? I don't know. Doesn't
Find out
matter.
soon enough.
I'm not talking about her. Yeah, plays Gloria Steinem.
Oh, Miss Americana?
Something like that. It was on
Miss America.
Hulu.
Miss America.
Is it Mrs. America?
Mrs. America.
Mrs. America.
We got there.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I loved that show. I think we
Yes.
were really into it, and everyone else was like, I don't know, it's like kind of dumb. And we're like, history, honey.
Herstory. And that's what that show is. So I know that Shirley Chisholm.
Oh, the actress from Orange is the New Black plays her.
I'm totally blanking on her name.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I was like, oh, okay, I feel like I've seen her around. But my God, this woman, and we need her spirit right now. I'll tell you that.
We really do.
So, Shirley Chisholm, obviously my sources, our mother, history.com, our stepfather, Wikipedia. I went all over the internet for this because there's a lot to learn. National Women's History Museum, Oxford of African American Studies Center, Smithsonian, and the United States Capitol History Society.
Oh, very chic.
Yeah, thank you so much for all of your service.
Smithsonian.
Smithsonian.
That could be somewhere eventually.
And our family
tree.
chart. No, because Smithsonian's definitely come up for me at first thought. It's like for me,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a scientific uncle.
I was literally just going to say it has to be an uncle.
It's definitely an uncle that's always wearing khaki cargo pants.
Someone that has like, that doesn't smell bad, but like.
But doesn't smell good.
Doesn't smell good.
100% Tivas.
Tivas, like hair that's kind of like unbrushed, huge glasses.
Of course.
Always listening to records, like refuses to like go mainstream, you know?
Is he on our maternal or paternal? Should we let the Rammies tell us?
Yeah. Guys,
Okay.
let us know.
But we do have a new member of our family. It's our Uncle Smithsonian.
Yep. And he's around. I feel like he almost lives in like the Midwest.
Yes, 100%. Like
But
Ohio?
Yes,
Yeah.
but travels a lot for work.
Yeah.
And he has been to like every country.
No, he's like a liberal king, too.
Yeah, a liberal king. Like almost maybe libertarian a little bit.
Oh, that's so true with a hint of libertarian.
A hint.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Wow. Hey, God, I love our family.
They're so cute.
So, okay, Shirley Chisholm. We got past that. So, okay, in Tess, in 1968, there were 435 elected representatives to the House of Congress. 11 of those representatives were women. 5 of those representatives were Black. None of them were Black women until Shirley Chisholm.
Oh my God.
I know.
Wait. Okay, so out of 435.
There was not one Black woman. So
Okay.
it's a lot of white men.
Here we go.
Yep. So Shirley Chisholm became the first Black woman to be elected to the United States Congress. In 1972, she became the first Black candidate for a major party nomination for President of the United States and the first woman to run for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination. Throughout her career, she was known for taking a resolute stand against economic, social, and political injustices, as well as being a strong supporter of Black civil rights and women's rights.
Fuck yeah.
A true icon.
Literally.
So who is Shirley? Shirley was born as Shirley Anita St. Hill on November 30th, 1924.
Scorpio.
Sag.
Oh, fuck.
Early days of Sag.
Okay, that was literally in the card today. I was like, the first instinct I had was Sag. And I was like, wait, that maybe doesn't really make sense.
No, she's that fire sign. She's like, you're going to listen to me.
Oh, God, go with your instincts always with these ones.
I know, but also that Scorpio, that stinger, you just never know.
Of course.
And she's kind of cuspy vibes.
Yeah, that's true.
But she's a Sag queen. She was born November 30th, 1924 in Brooklyn, New York. She was the eldest of 4 daughters to immigrant parents, Charles, who was a factory worker from Guyana, and Ruby, who was a seamstress and domestic worker from Barbados. Is this reminding you of anyone yet? 2 immigrant parents.
Oh, with daughters?
Political.
Louisa May Alcott?
No, Kamala.
Oh, I was thinking of, yeah, okay. Oh.
Shirley's-
I'm like, Louisa May Alcott's parents were not immigrants.
You were thinking post-election.
Yeah. I was just thinking of that day. Because what else can you really think of?
Dad. Right answers mostly even within ourselves.
But truly.
Yeah. Okay. So Shirley said, quote, "My mother says I've been a rebel since I was 2. I used to punch the older kids on the block to get them to listen to me."
I hear that.
And that's a sad.
Relatable.
Shirley's parents had a hard time physically being with their kids because they had to work so much to financially support their family. So sadly, on November of 1929, when Shirley was 5, her mom had to make the very difficult decision to send Shirley to Barbados to live with their grandma. Shirley later said, "Granny gave me strength, dignity, and love. I learned from an early age that I was somebody."
I love it.
Yeah. So in Barbados, she's living on her grandma's farm. They were working on the farm, and then she went to a school that was like a one-room schoolhouse, and it was like a very strict education system. It was based on the British education system, which I guess was way more intense than the American one.
I could see that.
Yeah, that checks out 100%.
Yeah.
So, and she was also, had a very strict upbringing. Like her grandma was so loving and obviously instilled a lot of confidence in her, but it was also like, you got to act right.
Yeah.
So she's living there. And then when she's 9 years old, Shirley and her sisters go back to the United States in 1934.
Oh, a hard age to like then just change everything again.
And talk about a culture shock going from
I-
Barbados, living on a farm
To the U.S.
during the Great Depression, living in New York.
No.
Yeah. Also, because of her time in Barbados, Shirley, for the rest of her life, spoke with a West Indies accent.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we're living in the Great Depression in New York. This is like the first time that Shirley really encounters racism. And then in 1939, she attended girls' high school, which that's what it was called, just girls' high school.
That's so chic.
Keep it clean, keep it
Oh
simple.
my God, that'd be like a great T-shirt.
Girls' high school. I love that.
New merch.
New merch, truly.
That's pretty cute.
Ram is girls' high school.
It literally is.
But this one was a public high school in Brooklyn, New York. It was a highly regarded integrated school. So yeah, an integrated school in the late 30s.
And that was probably very rare.
I believe so. They brought girls from all over Brooklyn who were academically advanced.
Okay.
So it was a public school, but I think it was like kind of like a charter school. I don't really know what a charter school is, but
Yeah, what is a charter school?
I have no idea.
Where
But
they focus on like the arts?
I think they were focused on like, you guys are smarter than other people.
Oh.
But it's still public.
Oh, I see.
You
It's for
know?
the smarties.
Yeah, it definitely is for the smarties. And that Shirley was. She was actually very shy and self-conscious in high school because of her accent. I know. So she really channeled her energy into her studies. She became a really eager reader. She did so well academically.
Oh God, I'm gonna cry in this episode. I can already just feel it.
Oh, honey.
I
Just
can already
get ready.
just feel it bubbling.
Get ready. She studied Latin, Greek, botany, physics, ancient and modern history, and she was chosen to be vice president of the Girls Honor Society, which was a branch of the National Honor Society. Do you remember the National Honor Society?
What was that?
I think it was, again, like a smart person's club.
Yeah, I don't remember. I wasn't in it. Did you get the invite?
In junior high, I snuck into the picture for yearbook at school. I remember I was like, they were like,
iconic. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put myself in here.
who's gonna fact check it? And then I remember
Wow.
like you had to go up and like say your name, like what row you were, and
did
I was
you?
like, of course.
They just like blur out your photo. And you're just like a faceless figure.
They pixelate it. Yeah. So if anyone's checking on the Southwest Junior High yearbook, I was a national.
Good for
Honor
you. I
Society.
liked your energy in high school. You were just like, whatever.
I was like, you got to fake it till you make it.
We love.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to be the best, and if I couldn't do that, I was gonna sneak my way in there. So
Let that be a lesson to all of you listening. Truly.
well, at least Shirley was actually in the National Honor Society. She was accepted and offered scholarships to Vassar College and Oberlin College.
Hot.
Fab. Like, so smart. But the scholarships were only to cover her education and not her room and board.
That's the most fucking expensive part. Vassar is in Nashville?
I don't think so.
No,
but
that's Vanderbilt.
That's
Sorry.
yeah, Vanderbilt. Yeah.
Where's Vassar?
No
Vassar
idea.
College.
And I have no idea where Oberlin is, but I know that I've heard of
I
them.
think, isn't Oberlin in Ohio?
Sure.
It's an Ohio episode.
Yeah,
I think so.
We're really channeling Ohio today. So instead, she went to Brooklyn College, where there was no charge for tuition and she could live at home and commute to school. And in college is where she really comes into her own and sheds her shyness, which college can do that for a woman.
Yeah, it can.
It always
You're
does.
just like, this is the new me, and I'm going to lean in.
And that's exactly what happened to Shirley. And she just thrives here. She received an award for her skills as a debater. She was so good at debate.
Oh, I wish I had done debate.
Same.
That's like something I think would have been like so good for women
I completely agree.
to like not feel like you have to like shy away from speaking your mind and to know how to like argue in a productive way.
In a productive way, because Tess and I are so similar that we'll get very heated and then start crying.
Truly. And then like 4 days is ruined in my life and I can't snap out of it.
But maybe if we join debate. So our high school Rammies, we highly encourage getting into debate.
Yeah, do it. How fun.
Why not? Well, she crushed it in debate. She joined the Delta Sigma Theta sorority.
Love.
And the Harriet Tubman Society, which the Harriet Tubman Society focused on getting African-American history curriculum, and they also focused on getting more women to be in student government leader positions.
Love.
Love everything about that. She graduates cum laude. Cum laude? Isn't this the same thing? Oh, God.
I think it's cum laude.
If this is your first
Right?
time listening to Ram, they're like, do they know anything?
My mom texted me this. It's cum laude is different than cum. It's like,
Okay, she graduated cum laude. Okay.
I think that's the first one.
Okay, great. So she did that. She crushed that. And then she earned her Bachelor's of Arts from Brooklyn College in 1946. She majored in sociology and she minored in Spanish. And she became fluent in Spanish.
That's so random, but like good for her.
I know. Well, that will definitely help her with her political career later on.
Oh, that's so true. I love when people minor in a language because it's something I would have never thought about. And I'm like, that's awesome.
So when she graduates, her professors are like, you're so smart. You're so active in like student body government and stuff. You really should consider a political career. And she replied that she faced, quote, a double handicap as both a Black person and a woman.
Yeah, I can't imagine how she would feel like that was possible.
Yeah. And when did she graduate in 1946?
Oof, it was not a good time.
No, but I love that her professors are like, you should go for this.
No, totally.
So at this time, Shirley's not really quite interested in politics yet.
Yeah.
She instead focuses her attention on early education, which is actually one of the few career options available to Black women at this time. She began working as a teacher's aide at a care center in Harlem. And we'll see this from Shirley always in her life. She was like, you know what? Let's level up. So she enrolled in a master's program in early childhood education at Columbia.
Good God.
Ivy League, baby. So smart.
League? I mean, she already got into the Ivy Leagues before. The master's in Ivy League, right?
I don't think so.
It's not. God, I really gotta. We were talking about this the other day, too.
Yes.
I was like, is Stanford an Ivy League? And
No,
you
Ivy
were like,
League.
let it go.
No,
It's
Ivy
not.
League's on the East or West Coast.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. But Columbia is.
Wow.
One of the, I don't know if
know.
it's one of the chicest to me because it's in New York City.
I think it's like, it might be the chicest.
I completely agree. So she gets into Columbia. Tess, she's working during the day at the daycare center and she's taking night classes to get her master's at night.
It takes a very special person to do something like that.
No kidding. And I have no idea how she even has the time, but she does have a man in her life.
Oh, well, you have to have a little lovin'.
That's true. You have to have some distraction. She's engaged to a man at this time who was studying to become a lawyer. And he sweeps her off her feet. Like, she's just so in love with him.
They met at Columbia?
They met while, I don't really know if they met at Columbia, but she was at Columbia at this time.
But they're in love?
She's so in love.
Oh.
She goes on a 3-week vacation upstate. And when she comes back, she learned that her fiance had sponsored a woman from Jamaica to immigrate to New York. And I guess he was like, he might have been trying to be like an immigration lawyer. So like Shirley kind of didn't think that much of it. She just thought that this woman was an old friend to her fiance and wanted to help her settle in the city.
It's never just an old friend, is it?
No kidding. Because this woman was super standoffish to Shirley. And Shirley's kind of like, what the fuck? Why are you being so rude to me?
Trust your gut, ladies.
And then eventually this woman angrily confronts Shirley about her fiance. And she's like, we're having an affair.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy to me that people have affairs any phase of life, but when you're engaged, it's a crazy time to have an affair. Like,
no kidding.
it's like before you're even like,
Just get out.
just get out before you're married.
Not only that, he paid for her to move from Jamaica to America and just like dangled it in Shirley's face. So Shirley's like devastated. Now, while she was engaged, she does meet this man named Conrad Chisholm. He had migrated from the United States, or he migrated to the United States from Jamaica in 1946. He later became a private investigator, a PI, who specialized in negligence-based lawsuits. We love a little PI action. So he meets Shirley when she's engaged. After the breakup, Shirley was truly like, I'm just so done with men. I'm so devastated. But Conrad heard that Shirley was back on the market. And he was like,
Let me prove you wrong.
exactly.
Honey.
He's like, I'm going to get the girl. She wasn't interested. She was like, this was so traumatic for me. Also, I'm like so busy. Like, how could I possibly date? But Conrad stuck around and he was sympathetic to her and I guess wore her down.
God. Was he like an older man?
He actually was older.
Conrad just seems like an older man.
Yeah, I think he's actually only 7 years older though.
Okay. But at the time, like, she's like what, like 20?
Well, they get married when she was 25.
Oh, damn.
So she was like 23 probably when they met. They get married when she was 25. Shirley and Conrad never have children. I saw an account that she had 2 miscarriages. So I don't know if it was because of that or if she just was like, I'm really going to focus on my career.
Yeah.
I kind of love that from most of my research, it's not really talked about that she doesn't have kids, you know, it just is. Shirley wastes no time being a newlywed. She continues to work her way up at the school. She starts out as a teacher's aide and then she's a teacher and then the assistant director and then the director and then she's promoted to director of a large center in Manhattan and then a consultant for the New York City Bureau of Child Welfare.
Whoa.
There, she was in charge of supervising 10 daycare centers as well as starting up new ones.
My greatest nightmare with Love and Light. Can you imagine?
No.
10 daycares, 1 daycare.
When I think about daycare teachers, I'm like, you must just be exhausted.
I know.
All day long. Like, you really have to care about early childhood education.
And you're just like probably getting sick all the time.
The immune system
The
that you must
snot.
have.
This like snot everywhere.
Oh my God. And Conrad was extremely supportive of his wife working so much and moving up,
Good.
which is nice to see. In history, we just don't see that very often.
Yeah.
He just believed in Shirley as a person. He supported and encouraged her. He cooked for her because Shirley could not cook.
I like this.
I know, but Shirley did love McDonald's.
What's not to like?
I know. And so I watch also, there's a Netflix movie with Regina King who plays Shirley Chisholm. It's so good. And she like constantly was walking around with the McDonald's cup. And I was like, I need to look into this more.
You're like, oh, she really does love
She
McDonald's.
loved McDonald's.
What was her order?
In the movie, she mentioned a strawberry shake.
Oh, God. I don't think I've had a milkshake from McDonald's in like since childhood.
Might need to change that.
Might need to change it.
Put it on the card.
Oh, of course.
We talked about it here.
Yeah,
They're like, you're charging.
That's right, to our accountant.
And when you see that pop up, you know what
She's
that
seen
means.
Stranger Things.
Ain't that the truth? Okay. Later, Conrad would say that he was the wonder man behind a good woman.
Let that be a lesson in relationships to all the
More
women.
of that.
Like, you should not date anyone that doesn't make you feel that way.
I know. I'm going to go on a date with a guy and be like, are you like a Conrad Chisholm or are you...
They're like sweating. They're like, I think the latter.
like, what's that even mean?
Put that on your dating profile. Who's someone trash that never supported? Like, are you a Conrad Chisholm or a Frank Sinatra?
Or Frank Sinatra. Are you a Conrad Chisholm or are you a Frank Sinatra? Got to keep it unique.
Truly?
So in 1953, Shirley does kind of start to dip her toes into politics. She started asking the question, why is our predominantly black neighborhood, which was Bedford, God, I don't know how to say this word, Stuyvesant? Sorry, it's a neighborhood in Brooklyn that was predominantly black.
I was just watching Architectural Digest with a house featured there.
So Shirley lived in that neighborhood at the time.
Okay.
And she was like, why are white men representing this neighborhood? That makes no sense. They don't understand our community. They don't live here. So she was like, Taylor Armstrong, enough. She joined her political mentor, Wesley Mack Holders, and they started their efforts to elect the first black judge in Brooklyn's history, Louis Flagg Jr., and they do.
So cool. Who's her mentor?
His name was Wesley Mack Holders, and he will be a player in this whole thing.
We love a mentor.
Maybe we just call him Mac because it's in quotes, so I think he went by Mac.
Love.
From the selection group that she created, it transformed into the Bedford Political League, the BSPL. I just don't know how to pronounce the S. And this group pushed candidates to support civil rights. They fought against racial discrimination in housing and sought to improve economic opportunities and services in Brooklyn.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. So she's working it. But Tess, in 1958, she left the group because she started pushing Mac and like the other people. She was like, I would like to be the leader of this group. We also need more women in positions of leadership. And they were like, you can leave, actually.
Mac said that too?
Mm-hmm.
God damn it. You think that there's one ally.
I know. Mac was like, you're fighting me now.
Also, she's the one who like started it all.
She started it with Mac. Yeah.
Ugh, gross.
But Shirley was like, I'm never going to let this get me down.
Good.
She joins the NAACP and the Urban League. She also worked as a volunteer for the white-dominated political groups in Brooklyn, like the Brooklyn Democratic Clubs and the League of Women Voters. And joining these clubs wasn't enough for her. She was like, we gotta shake some things up around here. So she sought to make some more meaningful changes to the structure and makeup of the organizations. She was able to recruit more people of color and into the 17 District Club and thus local politics. She was like, we need to get more of the people involved in politics so that we
Yeah.
can see real change. Like when we see representation, that's when we're going to see real change.
Amazing.
God, she knew it was up.
God.
In 1964, there was a vacated seat in the New York State Assembly. And who better to fill that
We know where our girl's going.
than Shirley? But then again, immediately she faced resistance based on being a woman. Even her own Democratic Party, they were like, I just don't know if we can put our efforts behind you. You're a woman. You just feel unelectable. She got told that constantly, like, you're just unelectable. I mean, I feel like we saw that in 2024.
Yeah, it's what we've constantly seen.
Yeah, this country's not ready for a woman. This country's not ready for a Black woman. Yeah.
My God.
Shirley told of one of her experiences when she was collecting signatures for her nominating petition for state assembly. She was at a house in Brooklyn in 1964, and a man said that she was trying to get a signature. He said, quote, "Young woman, what are you doing out here in this cold? Did you get your husband's breakfast this morning? Did you straighten up your house? What are you doing running for office? This is something for men."
It's so losery. The audacity.
It makes no sense. She is so much stronger than I ever could be. She calmly explains her experience and her commitment to the community, and he ended up signing the petition for her.
Oh, God. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it.
I
I just start screaming, crying, throwing up, and then just run away and then text everyone that I know what happened to me.
That's literally it. I'm like, I'm so upset.
Yeah, but she has her eye on the prize. And unfortunately, for a lot of women, if you do react, or for every woman, if you react in an aggressive way, if you speak your truth, then it's like, well, exactly. My point is proven. You're too emotional. You're too, unhinged. And so you just gotta stay mature.
I know. I think this is also just like such a good example of her knowing her worth, her knowing her strength and her power too. And like, so when someone says something that to her, she's like, well, that's just silly.
She's not even taking it on. She's not taking it personally.
No, 100%.
And that is a good reminder.
It really is. So she was like, you know what? I'm going to focus on the girlies. I'm going to appeal directly to women, including using her role as Brooklyn branch president of Key Women of America to mobilize female voters. And she also went around her community speaking in Spanish, too, which was something that a lot of politicians weren't doing. And her community also had a huge Puerto Rican population. And it works. She was like, I'm going to go to bridge clubs. I'm going to go to the grocery stores. And I'm sure these women were like, wow, we've never had a politician come and speak to us like this.
Yeah, who actually cares about us and seems like they can relate and personal.
Yes, and being like, oh, wow, my voice does matter, actually, too.
It truly takes one person, especially in these times. One person that just is like, oh, you're a woman, and that's amazing that you're a woman.
Exactly. Tess, she was elected with a 70% margin.
Wow.
She won the seat in December with over 18,000 votes over Republican and other Liberal Party candidates, neither of whom received more than 1,900 votes. Yeah. People were finally like, wow, someone who represents us, someone who sees us, someone who cares.
Yep.
She became the second African-American in the New York State legislature. She announced her victory in the streets wearing a red cape and, oh my gosh, my red cardigan. I didn't even realize.
Oh, that's so cute.
An homage to you, Shirley. She's in the street with a red cape and she's speaking in both English and Spanish because that's what her constituents spoke. So she's in the legislature for 3 years. One of her early activities in the assembly was to fight against the state's literacy test, which required English. She was like, just because a person, quote, functions better in his native language, it's no sign a person is illiterate. She was like, we don't have a national language. Like, why would we ever make people take literacy tests in just English?
That's so dumb.
Yeah, and that has that's no measure of education.
That's
you know what I
something
mean?
I could see Trump doing again.
Same.
Think about it's where we're at right now.
We're watching you. We are watching you. So, love that she did that. She also got unemployment benefits extended to domestic workers. Her legislative agenda included protecting the tenure of female teachers after maternity leave, raising the maximum amounts of money that local school districts could spend on students, and providing state aids to daycare centers.
Who could ever like look at someone like this and be like, ugh? You know what I mean? Like all of that you just said is so like amazing and thoughtful and supportive of people and their children and women. Who's ever like, I don't want to, I just don't understand.
I don't understand either. And it's also like the most basic thing of like, how can we support the American people so that they can go out and be in the workforce and that they can make this a better economy for everyone?
Like literally, it's just about like helping people
I
and
agree.
seeing people.
I agree. And she also sponsored the introduction of SEEK, which was a program to the state which provided disadvantaged students with a chance to enter college while receiving intensive remedial education.
God.
Yeah. And she's so busy, Tess. The state capital of New York is Albany. So she was staying at a hotel in Albany during the week. And on the weekend, she would drive back home to Brooklyn to hang out with Conrad, which was a 3-hour drive.
Got to keep the relationship alive.
You got to try, you know?
Yeah.
Shirley soon earned a reputation in Albany as a maverick who voted her conscience and frequently went against the party line. She was like, I'm a Democrat, but if I'm not vibing with what you're saying, I'm going to go against you.
Amazing.
Which is, again, how politics should be. I feel like something that I've learned from Ram especially is that just because you identify with a party doesn't mean you identify with everything as a party. You know what I mean? You guys know what I meant by that sentence.
Of course. Well, just don't idolize a Democratic Party or a candidate or a president based on your party. Always be critiquing and always be wanting better.
Exactly. Critical thinking.
Like don't just blindly follow anyone, even if that's like what you're the most passionate Democrat in the world. Yep. Whatever it is, like still always be like, I don't know if that's right.
And Shirley did that, and man, did it piss people off.
Well, yeah, I bet.
Of course. So in 1968, then a position in the U.S. Congress opened up, and the U.S. needed Shirley. And
yeah.
In 1968, my God.
Jesus.
And at 44 years old, Shirley was like, let's fucking do this.
Oh, my God.
She had worked on a local level. She had worked on a state level. She had been a part of the civil rights movement in the early 60s. She was a part of the second wave feminism movement at the time. She was now the vice president of the New York chapter of the National Organization of Women. She is more than qualified to be in Congress.
Oof. Is she like making money?
I think she's not making like that much money.
Yeah.
I think that we all think that like there's more money in politics than there actually is, because I think a lot of rich people get into politics.
And they're already rich. And then, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, she must be. And then it's like, no, politics doesn't, or local government does not pay.
Exactly. And these like organizations aren't paying. You're like volunteering to be a part of these organizations.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is so crazy. You really have to care about something, do something for free. I'll tell you that.
We know that.
We'll tell you that. So she was the first candidate to announce for the June 1968 primary, even though she knew the county Democratic organization would oppose her because she had been considered too independent and not a team player.
Not a team player for a woman, especially a Black woman, just means you're smarter than us and we're intimidated by you.
Exactly. And again, like, if our party is like gonna do something, you better agree with everything that we're gonna do.
Just mix it up, people. Get over it.
Well, what I love, Shirley is so full of amazing quotes. One of my favorites of hers is, quote, "If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair."
What? Wow.
I just love that. She's like, yeah,
I really love that.
Me too.
That gives me chills. I really like that.
Another one that I love is, quote, "Tremendous amounts of talent are lost to our society because that talent wears a skirt." Let that one sit with you. So this is where she introduces her slogan that she will continue to use throughout her entire political career: unbought and unbossed.
Chic and cute.
I know, because she didn't have major corporations paying for her campaigns like all of these other politicians do.
She's actually like doing the right thing.
Exactly. And she says later in a speech where she was like, I think that politicians should only have donations from the people, and there should actually be a cap, and it's the same cap for everybody. Because
it's not fair.
Well, politics are so corrupt because it's like you have the NRA paying for your campaign. So, of course, you're going to make legislation benefiting the NRA.
It's so stupid.
It's so stupid. God, I'm like, please, we need her right now.
I know. I'm like, is she?
She's no longer with us.
Okay.
But we'll get to that.
Okay.
So unbought and unbossed also because unbossed, she's like, no one's going to tell me what to do. Not even my own party's going to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And because of this, she was, again, at the picnics with people. She was out and about. She was in the neighborhoods. She would drive a big truck with a huge speaker out of it. And she had an announcement that would say, "This is your fighting Shirley Chisholm."
I love that.
I know. Her campaigns were so grassroots.
Yeah, that's amazing.
She was approachable. She was stylish. She was confident and charismatic. And she wins the primary.
Wow.
She wins the primary, but now she has to go up against her opponent, James Farmer.
I don't like that name. It does
me.
not feel like a safe name.
I think, all things considering, politicians probably wasn't the worst guy. But I mean, Shirley, to me, I'm just like, she's the best candidate for everything.
Is he a Democrat?
He's a Republican.
Oh, okay.
I believe, I mean, he is a Republican because it's Democrat, Republican.
Yeah.
But James Farmer is a very tough opponent because he was a nationally recognized civil rights leader.
Okay, well, we like.
He worked with Martin Luther King Jr. In 1942, he co-founded CORE, which originated the freedom rides in the South, which were integrated bus trips to challenge local efforts to block the desegregation of interstate busing. And on top of that, he was the candidate of both the Republican Party, there it is, and the Liberal Party, an important third force in New York politics. The Liberal Party wasn't the Democratic Party.
Right.
So he was representing both those. So it's like he has double the amount of people that could vote for him. So this is not going to be a walk in the park for Shirley.
No.
Tess, you want to add another layer to it?
Oh, God.
Shirley, during her campaign, starts feeling ill. And her husband noticed that she wasn't sleeping during the night. And he was like, Shirley, you really need to go to the doctor. She does, and they discover that she has a tumor on her stomach.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And they're immediately like, you need emergency surgery to get this tumor removed. She was like, I can't have surgery right now. I'm actually on like a campaign trail.
It's like that intense of a surgery, too.
So
It's
intense.
like weeks of recovery.
Despite her protest, she was told the operation couldn't wait till after the election. She arrived for surgery in late July. She said, quote, "I was so determined not to have the operation that I refused to go to sleep," she wrote in her memoir. The surgical team then administered such a large dose of anesthetic that I didn't come to for 13 hours.
She was asleep for 13 hours?
After the surgery.
They were like, we got to just like shut her up for a little bit.
Yeah, because she said
To
she was
save her
fighting
life?
it so hard.
Damn, wow.
God, I'm just like,
To love something that much, to be fighting off anesthesia, which anesthesia?
Anesthesia.
Anastasia. Always.
Every time.
It always sounds weird to say it.
And next time we're getting surgery, we're going to be like, give me some of that anesthesia.
They're like, just shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, so she gets her surgery in late July, and the hospital doesn't discharge her until August.
Oh, shit.
I mean, I guess it's such an intense surgery. And the whole time she's just like,
why now? Why me? Why is this happening?
panicking, being like, I'm losing steam. It's already like going to be such a tough race anyways.
Every day that goes by, it's just like, fuck.
Turns out, Tess, the tumor was benign. Great news. It wasn't cancerous.
Oh, that's
but it had been growing for 2 years. Kind of throws her back in the campaign. Like, she's being a little behind. She's like, okay, we need to be out and about. She was a very small woman in general. She lost 17 pounds while going through the surgery. And so her and her team layered beach towels underneath her clothes to make it look like she was like bigger than she was.
Oh, yeah, because it's like a intimidation tactic, you know?
Exactly. You don't want to be like, you don't look well. I don't
Yeah.
feel like you're in good shape to be like running
People
things.
just don't trust people that are sick.
Exactly. Especially a woman too, showing
Exactly.
any signs of weakness.
Exactly.
So they have towels wrapped around her.
Oh, God.
They go back in the truck and shouting from the loudspeakers that she was back up and around. I'm just like, the power of women.
Literally just stuffing towels in you, being like, let's fucking go. We'll deal with all of this later.
Back in the truck.
Back in the truck.
Farmer's well-funded campaign gained national media attention too. So it's like she is in her truck, but he is on national news. So it's like he has so much more exposure. And actually, both candidates did stand for similar concerns. But Shirley, she's a master campaigner. Like, she is with her people. She is out and about. And Farmer was like getting condescending, and it ends up backfiring on him because he said that she was a little school teacher who would not be taken seriously in Congress. And you know who that pissed off? Women.
Like, stop.
Yeah, so he's condescending. He's like, she's just a little school
Oh,
teacher.
she's just a teacher. You try.
Yeah, seriously.
You
It's
try.
the hardest
Men
job
just
in the
hanging out
world.
with kids for like 2 hours, and they're like, I'm so tired.
They're like on their phone, be like, oh shit, I forgot they were here.
Literally.
So that pisses women off. Women who happen to outnumber males by a large percentage in the district. So Shirley, again, she goes to the bridge game.
She's
she goes
like,
to the grocery
keep
store.
it coming, honey. Keep talking shit about me.
And she would go to the women and be like, he does not respect you. He doesn't respect me. Let's show him what we can really do here.
So smart.
So smart. And on November 5th, 1968, she defeated Farmer by a margin of 2.5 to 1. Because those women got out and voted.
Oh, the power of when women vote and listen to each other and all come together to be like, they hate us all, so might as well, let's be stronger together.
The power of when women vote in their interest and not against their interest.
It's the most simple thing.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it just doesn't seem to work out like that recently.
I know. So Tess is the first Black woman elected to Congress, and she was the only woman in the first year class that year.
God. Oh my God, how scary it must feel. Like walking in first day,
I can't imagine.
the bunch of white men just looking at you like you're
You don't deserve to be here.
exactly.
There is a scene in the movie Shirley where they're taking a photograph of Congress that year, and it is Shirley just in a sea of white men. And it's a powerful image. And that's what she was facing against. But now she's also getting national attention. Now people want to know who she is. So
yeah, like what an amazing accomplishment.
and then I wonder like what it must have felt like being a woman across like all over the country and being a Black woman across the country.
Oh my God.
And finally seeing representation. She's getting interviewed by Ebony magazine, by Vogue, by the New York Times. Like everyone wanted to talk to her, and she was a shock to the male-dominated Congress of the late 60s. I love this. As a congresswoman, she only hired women for her office, half of whom were Black.
Good.
Again, she's putting her money where her mouth
Yes.
is. She was always like, we have to get minorities in a position of power if we want things to change.
That's what she was saying even during her early days.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly.
Like, I love that she like sticks to that even as she's getting more powerful.
Same. And I guess when you're in Congress, you get assigned to a committee. I don't know. I don't really know how Congress works
Me
like
either.
that. When you get Ben back on here.
Yeah.
Well, her assignment was the Agriculture Committee and its subcommittees on rural development and forestry. And Shirley was like, what?
She's like, I don't like that.
But she was like, I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah, like why am I talking about the forest?
You want me to like work on farms and agriculture? Like,
Yeah.
She's like, I can't be of any assistance there.
Oh,
Like,
I'd be panicking.
so she is like, this is actually not going to work for me. And everyone was kind of like, Shirley, you just need to take it. It's like a seniority thing.
But it's like what she doesn't even know about that. So wouldn't you want someone that's familiar? She's a New York City gal.
100%. And this is like, again, the thing with politics. It's like, shouldn't we do something that's actually going to help? But people were kind of like, all right, Shirley, don't rock the boat. Like almost like you're lucky to be here.
Yep, I was just about to say.
Yep. And so Shirley was like, zip it. I'm going to do what I came here to do and use my brains and powers to do something that will actually help.
Zip it.
Zip it. So she decided to challenge the decision, and she approached the House Speaker, John McCormick, which apparently people were like, you don't go talk to him. Like you can't approach the House Speaker. He's here and you're here. And
Yeah.
she was like, that doesn't
She's like,
exist
who
for
cares?
me. Yep. And he told her there was nothing that he could do, but she kept pushing and her persistence paid off. And she was subsequently reassigned to the Education and Labor Committee.
Right where she belongs.
She's like, well, I have worked in early childhood education for my entire career.
It's literally what we were just talking about yesterday on Premium about manifestation and just like saying, fuck it, just do it. Like, what do you have to lose? If this woman who all the odds were stacked up against her can just go into a room with like such a powerful, scary white guy. And she's like, I don't want to do this. And he's like, yeah, okay.
Truly.
Do it.
Well, and she was told no a few times.
Exactly. So like, just do it.
But Tess, this isn't the only problem she came up against. One of her colleagues stopped her to say how amazed and shocked he was that she was making a $42,500 salary just as he was every time he stopped her on the house floor. Every time he saw her on the house floor, he would stop her and be like, I just can't believe that we're making the same salary.
Oh my God, what a loser.
It just amazes me. I love what she says. Finally, she had had enough, and she tells him, quote, First of all, since you can't stand the idea of me making as much as you, when you see me coming in this chamber each day, then vanish. Vanish until I take my seat so that you won't have to confront me with this.
Vanish. That's so iconic. Just vanish.
Vanish. Again, like that guy probably was around longer than her, and she's like, just shut up.
Also, like, stop obsessing over me.
Yeah. Why are you so obsessed with me? Yeah, truly.
Like, who cares?
Who cares? And I love this little excerpt from an article from the Oxford African American Studies Center. Quote, in the late 1960s, the tap of Chisholm's trademark stiletto heel struck a dissonant chord in the boys' club atmosphere of the U.S. Congress.
Oh, stiletto heels in Congress.
Ooh, they hated to hear that tap, tap, tap
I
coming.
bet they did. I bet they did. That just reminds me of the Legally Blonde scene where she's tapping, waiting when he's drinking out of the water fountain.
Women contain multitudes.
Literally.
And also, like, thank God there were probably, like, finally someone serving some looks in Congress.
Like, it's so boring just to look at all
Old
these
suits.
men in suits.
100%.
Mix it up with the fashion.
So during her time in Congress, she also co-authored and promoted a progressive child care bill that would have become law if President Richard Nixon hadn't vetoed it. Trash. Her focus was really on women for her time in Congress. She wanted to support working women and working mothers. And this is in a time where women couldn't refuse to have sex with her husband. It wouldn't be considered rape if you were married. Yep. Women couldn't have their own, they couldn't take a credit card out in their name without a signature from a male. Women weren't allowed to even run in a marathon.
It's hard to hear.
This was not that long ago.
It's not that long ago. Like, our moms were teenagers in their 20s during this time. Like, that's crazy.
And all of this is happening while Shirley is going into like the belly of the beast as a woman and being like, I'm going to change things.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. She also urged making Martin Luther King's birthday a national holiday.
Happy birthday to you.
We talked about that. She demanded lowering the voting age because at this time, I believe the voting age was 21. And she was like, kids are dying in Vietnam, but they don't have the right to vote. That doesn't seem fair.
Yeah.
So she pushed to make it 18. She also spoke out against the Vietnam War and supported the National Association for the Repeal of Abortion Laws. In 1970, Chisholm headed a coalition of women's groups to raise bail for a jailed Black Panther Party member as well. So she's crushing it. She worked towards constructing a coalition among those who had traditionally been kept outside of politics. Again, let's get more people of color in politics. Let's get women in politics. She was a founding member of both the Congressional Black Caucus and the National Women's Political Caucus. Other founding members of the National Women's Political Caucus, Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, Bella Abzug, and Fannie Lou Hamer. The National Women's Political Caucus is the only national organization exclusively dedicated to increasing women's participation in all political and public life roles.
Oh, this makes me want to watch the Hulu show again.
Same. And Shirley was in there.
Yeah.
And it's like the big thing about the National Women's Political Caucus, they were like, by 1976, we want to make it where it wouldn't be a joke if there was a female candidate for a president. Like, in a couple years, we need to have a female presidential candidate. So if we know anything about Shirley, she's like, all right, we want a female presidential candidate by 1976. Why not me? Why not now?
Wow.
Like, what are we going to wait around for?
Why not?
The time is now. And like, if a man can do it, how hard can it be, really?
Truly. Truly.
I actually use that phrase a lot in my life when I'm feeling
I love it.
nervous about things.
Yep.
So she starts floating around the idea to people in her life. She's like, I'm thinking about running for president. And immediately people are like, it's impossible. You're unelectable because you are a Black woman. It's never been done before. And you need a ton of money, which you do need so much money to run for president. So she's like, okay, well, I'm going to start floating this around a little more publicly, and I'm going to set a goal of raising $5,000. And if we meet that, then we'll take it from there, okay? She does that. She raises $10,000.
Wow.
So she's like, okay, well, clearly people like what I have to
working.
say. Yeah. So you know what? I'm going to do this. And on January 25th, 1972, Shirley Chisholm announced her candidacy for president. She was the first Black major party candidate to run for president of the United States, and she's also the first woman to ever run for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination.
Ooh.
Shirley said in her presidential announcement, quote, "I am not the candidate of Black America, although I am Black and proud. I am not the candidate of the women's movement of this country, although I am a woman and I am equally proud of that. I am the candidate of the people of America."
God, that's good.
That's good. And the mainstream Democratic Party didn't want her to run. They saw her as a nuisance because she represented the progressive politics of what the actual, what the Democratic Party should actually
Oh my
be.
God.
But Shirley wasn't bothered by this. She said, "They said I was crazy from 20 years ago when I first emerged on the political scene, so let them continue to think that I'm crazy."
Truly, who cares what anyone thinks at this point? Like, watch me do work. Watch me win.
So there is a very real problem of money or lack thereof. Her campaign was underfunded. They end up spending $300,000 in total.
Oh my God.
Compared to the millions that the other candidates were working with.
Yeah.
And the $300,000 left her in debt for several years, which breaks my heart. I'm like,
No, I know.
for instance, Senator George McGovern spent $12 million on the primaries
God,
that
back
year
in the 70s? That's a lot of money.
compared to her
Oh,
300,000.
God, that's so sad.
Yeah, so she didn't have money for the nationwide campaign that she would need. She also didn't have time because she had to work in Congress as her day job and then travel all over the country. So she's kind of like, okay, we need to just focus on the states that we know we can have an impact on. Like California was winner takes all, and I really don't know what that means, but she kept being like, we're not going to California. Like, there's no point of us going there.
Yeah.
But we can go to Florida, for instance, and maybe make more of an impact there. She was only able to visit 11 states. She said, "We tried to be rational and orderly about it, but decisions about where to go and what to do were almost always made on spur of the moment, last minute basis. It was a hell of a way to run a railroad, but it was the only way we had."
Yeah, there's not real structure.
There wasn't structure.
And then, God, if you can only go to 11 states, it's I don't want to say why even do it because it's amazing to be let's just see what we can do. But it's just she has such an unfair advantage with funding.
I know.
'Cause imagine if she could go to even 20 states.
Well, also, she struggled to be regarded as a serious candidate instead of a symbolic political figure. Tess, she was blocked from participating in televised primary debates. Like CBS, NBC, and ABC all didn't invite her to the primary debate.
That is trash.
And she ends up taking legal action against that.
Good. That's how is that even fair?
It wasn't. And then
legal, actually.
It wasn't. It was illegal. And in the movie, it's a really powerful scene. She's so freaking smart. And she's like, "I know that's illegal. Sue them." And then people were like, you're crazy for suing the three most major news networks. Like, you don't have any money, but you're going to sue them. She ends up winning, but she doesn't get to be in the debate. Instead, she was permitted to make just one speech.
Was there any network that did allow her on?
I think that they would
we're looking at you.
air her stuff, but she wasn't, the network still didn't allow her to be in the primary debate. So it's they just didn't even take her seriously. The Democratic political establishment ignored her, and the Black male colleagues provided little support. She later said, when I ran for Congress, when I ran for president, I met more discrimination as a woman than for being Black. Men are men. She expressed particular frustration about the Black matriarch thing, in quotes, saying, quote, "They think I'm trying to take power from them. The Black man must step forward, but that doesn't mean the Black woman must step back."
Wow.
And even her feminist allies, too, they didn't support her in the end. For instance, Gloria Steinem backed Chisholm, but said that McGovern was, quote, "the best white male candidate in the running."
Why would she do that?
So she was like, well, if we really want a chance, then we have to support, the obvious candidate, even though I think that you're great.
That is such a bad way of looking at life.
Well, exactly.
And unproductive.
This is exactly what we face with, white women failing again. And then Shirley was like, the Black men, I have been there for you. I have supported you. I have fought for our causes.
Yep.
White women, I have been there. I've supported you. I've fought for our causes.
Why is no one supporting me?
Exactly. And now I'm here, and I'm the better candidate.
And for what? Why aren't you supporting her?
Well, exactly. And with the Gloria Steinem thing, that's white feminism, in a nutshell.
Totally. I mean, Gloria Steinem has her issues.
Yeah.
We love her, but there's also a lot to critique about her.
I just can't imagine the betrayal I would feel and the loneliness.
Fucked up.
Yeah, it really is. Conrad was actually her unofficial bodyguard at this time, so he supported her mentally and physically.
I'm going to beat someone up if they get close to my woman,
which is hot.
Which is hot.
God, if I had a bodyguard, it'd be hard not to fall for him.
because it's so much, I mean, of like, yeah, I wonder what celebrities, well,
I mean, maybe didn't like Lana Del Rey marry her
wait,
or like
yeah,
date her
right?
bodyguard or
Well,
something?
there's the movie The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston
Hey,
and Kevin Costner.
she's just a woman.
She's just a woman.
So what can you do? But saying all of this is what I'm getting to is that, of course, there were also like tons of death threats to Shirley at this time. And Conrad was her bodyguard until all of the candidates got Secret Service protection after a gunman shot Governor Wallace of Alabama during a campaign event in Maryland on May 15th. Governor Wallace was running for the Republican primary.
And he died.
He did not. He survived the attack, but it left him paralyzed in both legs.
Oh my God.
So Governor Wallace was trash. I mean, if he's governor of Alabama at this time, I'm sure you
Can imagine good things, yeah.
guess. He was known as being like a huge segregationist. He called for segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. He gets shot by a white man, actually. He's in the hospital, and Shirley was like, I need to go visit him in the hospital. Because Nixon had visited him in the hospital, McGovern had visited him in the hospital, and Shirley's like, if everyone is like all the presidential candidates are, I need to as well. Mac, who is back on her team actually
Oh,
now,
nice to see you show up again.
and was like her advisor in this, he was like, absolutely not. Like, people are going to be so pissed, rightly so, if you go visit him in the hospital. She later told the New York Times, quote, Black people in my community crucified me, but why shouldn't I go visit him? Every other presidential candidate was going to see him. He said to me, what are your people going to say? I said, I know what they're going to say, but I wouldn't want what happened to you to happen to anyone. And then he cried and cried and cried.
What would you have done?
I would not have gone to visit him. Are you kidding me?
I would not have gone either.
Tess.
She has, strength in a way that I just don't understand.
He later supports a bill that she pushes through Congress to get, I believe it's health insurance for domestic workers because of this experience with her. Again, like, it's just like that guy who signed it that I'm just like, thank God you had the patience.
Yeah.
I could never.
Never. I mean, like.
And I understand her community being like,
Yeah.
you betrayed us.
I understand her community also. And then I understand her wanting to have human connection of being like, let's connect on this on a level that has nothing to do with politics. Like, we're both kind of, we're both in the same industry and someone tried to kill you and someone is probably going to try to kill me. And hopefully this visit could change something like the way that you view segregation or like, but that shouldn't have to be her job to do. And that's why it's frustrating to listen to that.
Exactly. I just can't.
Like, of course, a Black woman has to be the one to be like, this could be different if we all came. It's like, you know what? Educate yourself, whatever your name is. I forgot what his name is.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
It really doesn't matter. But wow, like what a crazy experience. I could not believe that.
No.
Yeah. So through this, she has to obviously stay on the campaign trail. This is the first election that if you were 18, you could vote. And she understands the importance of the youth vote and women and minorities. She entered the 12 primaries. So I guess it was the 11 or 12 states she went to. And she garnered 152 of the delegates' votes, 10% total. I have no idea what that means. But I think that it was better than they thought it was going to be. And in 1972, Shirley brought her coalition to the Democratic National Convention in Miami. And like, unlike today, like when we have the national convention, we know who our candidate is going to be. Like, they truly did vote on it there.
Damn.
Like, it's voted on now to like solidify it.
Yeah.
But then it was like, it could be anyone.
Damn.
And she already knew that she wasn't going to be the nominee. There were two frontrunners, Hubert Humphrey and George McGovern. So she really had an opportunity because I guess she was getting further up than she thought. And then she would have to give her delegates to one of them. So she had this opportunity to say, I'll give you my delegates, but you have to agree to my conditions on what you're going to run on if you want my delegates. And at this point, she was advocating for a female vice president, a Black secretary of housing and urban development, and an Indigenous person as interior secretary. She was like, you want my delegates? You got to do that.
Love.
Do that. So she's going around being like, okay, in the first round, please vote for me so I can have more power, like more actual power to give more like guidelines to these people in the end, more leverage. Now, despite her best efforts, George McGovern won the first round of ballots, so she couldn't get enough people to change their votes and put it behind her. But they did love everything that she had to say, but they were like, we just have to vote on the safe bet.
Oh, you do? You do? People are annoying.
I know. It's like time and time again, it's like, we know you're the better candidate,
Yes.
but we can't.
But we're just not going to do it.
It's crazy
Because it's
to me.
scary and it scares us.
Exactly. When the coalition didn't come together, she was really hurt. A lot of people didn't know, but like Shirley was a sensitive woman. On interviews that I saw people on her team, this one woman was like, I was with her many times when she would go into her room and just broke down and cried behind closed doors.
I bet.
Mm-hmm.
How could you not?
Kayla Jackson, a former student of Chisholm, said, quote, the myth of a strong Black woman is an easy one to buy into because then we don't have to look at you as a real human being. It didn't mean that they didn't get tired and that they weren't human and feel the same things other people do.
Wow. That is an important quote.
Right? Right. Because then it means we don't have to look at you as a human.
Damn.
And like then we don't get to afford you the luxury of having an emotional reaction to something.
Exactly.
But she just went right back into Congress and redoubled her efforts to improve people's lives. Shirley said, when you get on the inside of whatever you're doing, you've got to get in there to change the rules of the games. Because remember, they weren't made for you or me. And we've got to bring other people along. So you can't go along to get along. You've got to really shake things up. Throughout her tenure in Congress, she worked to improve opportunities for inner city residents. She supported spending increases for education, healthcare, and other social services. She focused on land rights for Native Americans. She opposed the American involvement in the Vietnam War. She was a huge advocate for the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment. And, something that people argued with the ERA, they were like, well, if this passes and there's a draft, that means that women would have to be in the draft.
That was like their main point. I'd be like, you don't want to go to war, right, ladies? We can't support women.
Yeah. And you know what Shirley's response was to this, which I love? She was like, well, if there was a draft and women could serve, maybe some larger, stronger woman might perform better than some smaller, weaker man. Like, why are we making making women so fragile?
Also, truly. And I was like, it was just a stupid scare tactic. And that was the one thing that they ran on.
Exactly. It was the red herring and all
Little
of it.
Phyllis Schlafly, whatever your name is.
Phyllis, you can rot in hell.
Oh, you rot in hell?
Well, actually, I know that Phyllis is rotten in hell.
Truly.
So, sadly, Shirley and Conrad end up getting a divorce.
Oh.
I know. It was
years
after
were
the
not
election.
kind to them.
I think he's as supportive as he could be.
Well, they're always,
Yeah, but it's like, if you're not spending time together,
it's a hard, probably, relationship to maintain.
I
with
would think
just
so.
traveling so much and all the pressure.
And I think that's what it was in the end. She ends up remarrying Arthur Hardwick Jr., who is a former New York State's assemblyman. I think he also worked on his campaign, or on her campaign.
Okay.
So there might have been some crossover.
She's a little cheating bug, doesn't she?
She has the most energy.
Truly, I'm like, how do you do all this?
I have no idea.
She was engaged 3 times.
She was engaged 3 times.
That's iconic.
No kids, engaged 3 times. It's chic.
It is chic.
She ends up retiring 14 years after the presidential campaign at 58 or 59 years old. That's when she leaves Congress in 1983. She moves to Williamsville, New York, a suburb of Buffalo. She lectured. She's a professor of politics at the all-women's Mount Holyoke College in Massachusetts.
Oh, cool.
And Spelman, and a little bit at Spelman College in Atlanta. She continued to work on political campaigns for the Democratic Party. She then retires to Florida, as a lot of people do. Shirley Chisholm died on January 1st, 2005 at the age of 80 from a stroke. Shirley paved the way for us to have the first Black president, to have Kamala as vice president and as a presidential candidate. And then since Shirley's history-making congressional victory, more than 50 Black women have been elected to the House and 2 have been elected to the Senate, including Vice President Kamala Harris, or former Vice President Kamala Harris. Today, nearly 30... Okay, so this was from 2024. Today, nearly 30 Black women serve in the House, though none currently holds a seat in Senate. In the years since, the public has grown to better understand her legacy. Shirley was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015. President Barack Obama said in the ceremony, quote, "Shirley Chisholm's example transcends her life. When asked how she would like to be remembered, she had answered, 'I'd like them to say that Shirley Chisholm had guts.' And I'm proud to say it, Shirley Chisholm had guts."
Oh, God.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Obama honoring her. Like, I just can't. It was a better time.
I mean, also just like what that must feel like, where he's like, if this woman hadn't gone before me, who knows if I would be here right now.
Totally.
It just makes me so emotional. These women who continue to like just chip away at the glass ceiling, and it must just feel so exhausting. And like, I'm so grateful for all of them because we couldn't be here without them.
I know. Like God, I mean, I know we keep saying this, but just the strength. Like, just to keep like, I truly just think after like 2 experiences of someone being like, I don't like you and I don't believe in you. Like, it's so easy to give up, especially in this time period for a Black woman.
And to be told like it just can't happen from the people who are in the positions of power.
Exactly. And like, she just knew that she was smarter than so all of these men. And she knew that she was more accomplished and like could do a better job. And still people being like, no. Like, it's just sick.
It's bullshit.
It is just bullshit. And so she's just an amazing woman.
Yeah. And to see members of your communities on both sides turn against you.
I mean, it's like, it's what we talk about all the time of just, it's really confusing to see people that are just like you fighting against what you should all deserve to have.
I know.
And I just don't get it. I will never understand it.
I don't either. And like, God, I really wish that we had a candidate like Shirley, and we will, and we can, and like, because of Shirley, because of Kamala, because of Hillary, because of AOC, we have young women being inspired and seeing representation and continuing to make strides, you know, like even when it feels like we're being pushed back, we're still going to push forward.
No, it's true. And, you know, this country, we always see a little wave of progress and then completely turning backwards, and progress turning backwards. It's like the cycle, which can be very scary and discouraging. And it's hard, like, hearing these stories because you're like, if everything feels the same right now. But at the same time, you have to focus on like the little wins, I think, and people like this who make those little wins like happen and actually make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, and against all odds, if Shirley decided to press on, then like, who are we to not?
Literally. Channel the energy of Shirley like suing all those networks when you're just, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Just being like, fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to stick to the law and stick to what's right and respectful. And that's how we will continue to move on.
There's not a seat at the table. Pull up a folding chair.
I love that. What a inspiration in so many ways.
I really needed this research process.
Just to feel like a little light.
Yeah, and some inspiration and just, yeah, she's everything to me. I love Shirley.
I am so glad that this is being released on President's Day. Someone who should have been president.
100%.
But it's like, you know, I mean, obviously president is the whatever, but there people like this will have more of a legacy and actually make an impact and a difference more so than beep.
Exactly.
Will ever. And so it's like, you don't have to be president to be like one of the coolest, most, you know, powerful people.
I know, and you hear about this and you're like, why are we learning about Shirley Chisholm every day?
Exactly.
I'm going to bring her up like every single day.
Oh my
She's
God.
just so impactful.
Well, I had like a vague, I was like, oh, I think, yeah. And then like when you post the story about her, I was like, that makes sense. But like, I didn't know any of this. And that's just like, it's a shame what we are taught in history. And if you're new here, that's really like what we try to do.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, it's a shame that we're learning about like, I don't know.
Napoleon, I'm sorry.
No one needs to know.
I started researching Napoleon. I was like, I'm so bored with this. I don't care. Like, this is what actually makes a difference. This is actually like what we see a reflection of in our country today.
Oh, truly. Well, even like, when do you learn about the presidents in school? What year is that?
I'm like, what did we learn in school?
I don't know.
Yeah, me either. I mean, like U.S. history, I did that sophomore year.
Yeah.
AP US.
Yeah. But it's like, what? Yeah, she should be in there. But I'm so glad that we did this episode. I think it's really important right now. I'm proud of you for doing it.
Thank you. Oh, this editing is going to be tough because you guys aren't going to know it, but I was stuttering up a storm.
It was I mean, these kind of episodes are so like, I feel like I'm always like nervous because I want to do these women justice.
Yes.
And it's like so much information, politics, everything. And so like, I commend you for doing a great job.
it feels like a lot of pressure.
Totally. But
Yeah.
you did fantastic.
Well, thanks. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please share it on your social medias. It makes such a difference for our show. And tag us at Right Answers Mostly. If you also enjoyed this episode, you can go and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and a review. You can also rate us on Spotify right at the top.
And write a comment in Spotify. We love getting those.
Yes, you can write a comment under the episode. Please do that right now. Join our premium for 3 bonus episodes a month, and we will see you guys next week.
See you next week, Rammies.
Bye.
Bye-bye.